video number 1. So in this video, we'll learn about what is unit testing. Then I will explain you why developer need to write unit test cases if we already have tester to do testing of our application. And then we are going to install some packages that requiring writing unit test case. And at the end, we are going to write our first unit test case. So let's start with what is unit testing. So unit testing is basically process of testing individual component or functions of your applications. The main goal of unit testing is simple, is the cover each and every line code of our uh, component or function. So for example, you have login form. So what are the scenario can be happen? So you need to cover all the scenario you are testing. First is the maybe user cannot fill all the field and click on login button. For example, you have login form where you have email, password, and one login button. So if user directly click on login button, what are the thing happen? Email and password show error. For example, email show this field is the email field is required. Password show the password field is required. So you need to check the error is appearing or not. And on the login button, you can test if the loader is appearing or not. The API call is happened or not. So that's all the scenario you can test for a particular component or particular function. So now question is why developer need to write new test case if we have already have tester and they are also going to test same scenario. So answer is very simple. If you are working on very big project where you have around 20 to 30 module or 20 to 30 pages or component, so one component can be used at multiple place or the module also interconnected, and multiple developer also working in same project. Let's suppose one developer made any changes in one component, one module, and the other developer is not aware about it. And also there is chances if the component changes can be impacted other places where we using same component. So in that case, like developer is forget to test the particular few scenarios. For example, in the login page, developer is forget to test error scenario, and also tester is forget to test same error scenario. And for example, one button component, we have one button reusable component that is used at around 30 to 40 other component or other module. So if you made any changes in button component, that might be impacted other 30 to 40 pages or scenario. So in that case, you can test a few component. If you are going to test every and each component, it can be time consuming. You are not able to test a few scenario, so it can become as a production error. To avoid this type of scenario, the developer need to write unit test case. So that's help us to detect bug in early development process only. So that's not commit production error. Now let's start with the package installation process. Okay, so let's install the packages that is required to write unit test case. I will mention the package uh, in the description box. You can install all of these packages. So first of all, we are going to install vitest. Second is React testing library. Third is JSTOM user event, and then MSW for mocking our API calls. So I'm using a pnpm. So if you don't know about pnpm, so I have created one video on pnpm as well. And if you don't want to install using pnpm, you can install with npm as well. So I have already installed the package. So after installing the package, you just need to configure one vitest file. So create one file with the name of vitest.config.ts. I will also mention the code in the GitHub URL inside the description box, so you can also refer that as well. So first of all, in the vitest configure file, we will create one test object where we have environment, global, and other things. That is coverage. So are we also going to check our coverage? So we set few threshold value, branches, function, line. So all the things should need to be greater than 90%. So in the testing, the concept is the goal is to cover each line of code. So now other thing we have first is test file. So first of all, in the inside the SRC folder, just create one test folder. Inside the test folder, create one setup file. So, in the setup.ts file, we have three type of function. First is before all. So it will what will do? It will call the server snap at every before starting the test case, and after performing all the test case, it will call after all, and after performing each test case, it will call after each function. So what are the things we are doing inside all three functions? First of all, we are listening the server, and after each test case, we are resetting our handler, and after uh, performing all the test case, we are closing the server. So the question is, what is server? So server is basically uh, our setup server, our handler. So inside the mocks, and inside the folder, we need to create one more folder called mocks. In the mocks, we have server, and the server we are setting server that is coming from MSW. MSW is used for mocking our API, and here we are passing our handler. So handler is basically the API that we are going to move. Let's suppose you have one four card API. First is used to get data. Second is used to update or create data. So all the API we are going to mock that is come inside the mock, our handler, and the handler at the end come inside the setup server, and the server will be we are going to call it our test setup file. Okay, now move to the our first test case. So for writing test first test case, we just need to write one test. The test will come from vitest. Okay, so I'm going to write test case for the button. Let me show you how it's look like. So here we have button component where we have label on click function. So I'm calling it button component our app.js file, where I'm passing one label component on label prop and one on click as a props. So it's very simple in the term of UI. We have default UI that is come with where we first time we install our vitest with React. So if I'm clicking on the button, it will increase the count of uh, state. Now go come at the button test.txt file. Write test. It will import test from vitest and write the test case name. So I'm going to check the label with the name is rendering proper or not. So first we will check label check. Okay, and now then we have one uh, fed arrow function. So inside the fed arrow function, we'll perform our test case. So first of all, we render the button component. So call the button component and pass the props that is required. So I'm going to pass click me, and then I will check it will render click me properly or not. So second we have on click function. So on click function, I'm just going to pass one empty function over there, and then it's not giving me suggestion to import. I will directly import the render from testing library React. Okay. The second thing we need to import that is inside the expect will call screen uh, get by text and we'll pass the text click me and check it's inside our document or not to win document. Okay, so we have wrote our first case. Let's run it using pnpm with test. So and the second test case we can also wrote. Okay, it's showing some error because we have passed wrong text. So let's check it again. Okay, so our test case is 100% successfully passed, and now we can see the coverage as well. So it's showing 100 because we have covered our props because we have very less line of code. So now we are going to write our second test case. In the second test case, we check our onClick function. So for that, just write test again and give the test name. So here I'm going to give it event and create one function, callback function, and call the button again. We can also create a global utility function, so we don't need to write it again and again. But yeah, now I'm going to write it again. And first for mocking any function, we have one vi that is come from vitest. So that is used to mock any function. So first mock button equals to vi for function. So here I'm going to pass this mock button to our onClick function and then call the fire event. So fire event is to fire any event you just pass where we need to click on screen. So I'm going to pass the screen get by text. So if in this whole screen, if it found the text with click me, it will click on the text. So fire event will going to click on the click me text. So now what we'll do, we'll check if the mock function to have been called one call times one. So here we are going to check our move button is called or no. So whenever like the fire event, let me explain from starting. So first of all, we'll render our button component with the mock button. We'll by mocking the onClick function. So after that, using fire event, we'll click on the text with the name of click me. So after clicking on text with the name of click me, so our onClick function will be called because onClick function call when we click on the button. So it will call. For checking our mock function is working or not, we'll check the count of mock button, how many times it's called. So it's if her we call it's one time, so the count will be one. So let's check it's working or not. Save our test case. Okay, it's working. So our both test cases are working. We will check. We check our level text. We have checked our on click button is working or not. So we have covered our button components.